Hi friends, Renee Keys here with Carolina Creative, here with more stamping ideas for you. My last video, I used the Loveliest Tree stamp set and made a green tree leaves. And then after that, I made another one, very similar, but this time I used peach pie. So it's more of a fall theme to me. It's tone-on-tone oranges and the peach pie. But today, I really want to simulate leaves changing color. And so I am going to create my own ink pad and do a multicolor with this same stamp set using this big tree. I've heard this called the baby wipe technique. Like I say, I'm going to mix colors and create my own stamp pad. So let me flip my camera here. You can see my workspace. I do have a pack of baby wipes, and I'm going to pull out probably two. Let me see how big this is. I like to do this on either a paper plate. I've got a small, they're double plates here. Sometimes I'll pull styrofoam out because it helps soak all this up. You know what, I might be able, I just folded this in half and in half again. So this is a quarter, and I'm going to pretty much ink up this whole thing. So that might be all I need. Sometimes I do use two, but I'm not going to do a whole lot of stamping with this. I'm going to get this out of my way. I'm going to do just a couple of stamps and then be done with it. So I have pulled out some oranges. I've got Cajun Craze. I've got Calypso Coral. I've got a bright Granny Apple Green, and I've got Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to start, well, for some reason I just picked the yellow. I'm going to start light and just dot on yellow ink. I'm using my reinkers here. And now I've grabbed the Cajun Craze, and I'm going to fill this in. Get it to flow. This one's really a stiff bottle. So I'm going to just dot this on and mix up colors. You see how they're spreading. That's fine. That's what they're supposed to do. I'm going to grab the green because this is probably going to be one of the bigger contrast colors here, and blob this everywhere. And that is a bright. I might want to add a different green. I'll see how this looks when I get this done, and if I want to add more. And this is my Calypso Coral, so this is a brighter orange than the Cajun Craze. That's more of a rusty color. Let's see, I've got a whole bunch of different colors here. I like that. Now there's different ways to do this. I might just grab, well, no, I won't. I'm just going to add more green. I put away all my whole container of inkers. Otherwise, I was going to grab a lighter green, but I think this is fine. Okay, so now I've got a whole bunch of ink colors on here, and I'm going to take my stamp, and I'm going to push this way, and I'm going to do it one more time. I don't care if the colors bleed. I want it to be a big variety. Now, I can already see that there's ink on here, and I've got a bunch of different colors. So now I'm stamping onto Very Vanilla. I have stamped this onto other colors. Oh, yes, that was what I had in mind. And just because I've got the ink pad here, I'm going to go ahead and do it again. So I will die cut one today, but then I will punch out another one. Let me get that out of the way. Now, sometimes when I've got color like this, let me show you what else I like to do. I'm just going to try to ink up a corner of the card here, of that cardstock. And I'll do the other corner too. Take some different colors. And just get, you know, a variety of colors on there. And maybe here in the middle too. I'm trying to be careful not to get it where I'm going to punch out my tree. After I punch it, I may do it. Because what I was going to do is use the die to punch out another tree shape. And I'll tell you the easier way to do this, since I'm going to run this through one time. I'm going to cut this in half, because now I could ink a little bit more like that. Or I'm going to take another piece. I forgot I pulled out another piece of cardstock here. And I'm just, it'll look kind of blotchy, but that's okay. It is going to have a whole bunch of different shapes. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way since it's wet ink. and bring in my Stampin' Die machine and show you how I can cut several things at once. So here we go. I've got my sandwich all ready. It's just the traditional sandwich. I've got my, my pretty tree here. I'm going to punch this out. And then I pulled out, here we go, a couple of these leaves. There are die cuts that do these leaves, and I'm going to put a leaf down there and put a leaf over here. And then I'm going to use this where I made this blob of color. Okay, here we go. Put my top plate on, number 3, and roll it through. And when it comes out the other side, I now have, it's a little bit damp because it's still wet, but I'll be able to work with that. I'm just going to get this out of the way, and I'll be able to work here where you can see me. Okay, so now I've got my tree. I've got 2 leaves that I punched out that should also show a variety of fall color. And this is kind of messy. You're going to see this is a very delicate little leaf. So it has a lot of little pieces that are going to fall out. They're going to be all over my work table here. So that's got a lot of greens, which is fine. For this one, I can already see through the die has more different colors. So yeah, I got some greens and golds. I had punched a few of these the other day. I was stamping on crushed curry, and then I did the same thing. I touched it to the ink pad that I had made and got these multicolors. So you can do it. There's a lot of variations that you can do with this. So now I'm going to punch this out as well. This is going to have, here we go, oh, that came out really cool. So now there's another die cut that comes with this that is a tree trunk. And I could die cut that, say, in espresso, early espresso, or a dark brown, and put this on top, and that would make a really pretty tree as well. So that will be a future card. What I want to do now is assemble this. I'm going to stamp, I see, and I have another one to punch out later. To stamp my sentiment, I pulled this out of another stamp set. But what I was thinking was, you know, I may use my ink again. I may make this multicolored too. I wanted to say, giving thanks for you with a very grateful heart. I'm starting to think about, you know, kind of Thanksgiving and fall themes. So I'm going to see how this looks. I'm going to ink this up with a variety of color. And if I don't like it, I'm going to flip it over and stamp it again. It's that simple. It's just paper. Yep, I don't like it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to pull out my Calypso Coral. Give that a clean. I think I want it to be the brighter of the orange colors here. And in fact, I should show you what it looked like. I just find that hard to read. I don't care too much for that. So I'm going to flip it over and stamp on the other side. Yep, I do like that better. And you may like the multicolor, or maybe I should have, when I was inking that up, tried to stamp, you know, here where the Cajun Craze is, or pick the green. You know, I could have picked a color. I just went totally random and then decided I didn't like it. So I'll get that out of the way. I did pick copper clay for a card base, and then I had some scraps. So these are the in colors from last year. I've got wild wheat and some copper clay, and it's just got a little small print to it. And then I found a piece of this wood tone paper, and I thought, well, that could look kind of cool. And then I'm going to put my tree on top of that. And I even found a piece, this is pumpkin pie, so this is the bright orange. But I thought, well, maybe I want to mix this in here and just really randomize this. So I'm going to play with this just a little bit as I assemble. And I think I'm going to cut this at an angle. And I'm not going, you saw, I'm not being precise here. I will put this probably under the tree. And then I have to decide, again, because of the colors, I pulled out some of this twine. And I've got to decide, do I want to go a natural color or do I want to go orange if I'm going to do that? But I do think it's going to need something. And then because I had been playing with the Changing Leaves bundle and had been punching out those leaves, can you see what I did here? I had punched it out and I had the stencil. So I put that on top of what I thought was going to be my insert, and I used my blender brush and very gently put the leaf shape in there. I thought that would make a really cool inside of the card. Obviously, we're going to write right over this, but and so it's very light, but I think it makes a really cool insert for this card. So you see how this is going to go together. This is what my current thinking is. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to start from the front because I've got this laid out. So I've got my glue, liquid glue here, and I've got my tape runner. And I'm thinking I'm going to start with the liquid glue because if I need to slide this just a little bit, I'll be able to do that. So I'm going to just put this one at an angle, sort of like the way I had it laying out a minute ago. And then I had that one angled the other direction. And just enough glue to hold it on. And I'm going to put some bigger pieces over the top. Yep, I think so. I think it needs to go this way. So I'm going to put some brighter orange there in the middle. Now, if I wanted, I could take a sponge dauber and put a little more color on this tree, but I just don't think it needs it. So I think on this layer, that's an old one that I used up. Here's my new one. I shouldn't leave it laying on my work table, should I? Because I grabbed for it. I had just pulled out a new refill and loaded it up, so I was ready to go. Oh, I've got a decision to make. Do I want the grain going horizontal or vertical? And I'm thinking with the tree, I want it to go horizontal, but honestly, it could go either direction. It really doesn't matter a whole lot. And then, do I or don't I? I did pull out my dimensionals. My order should be coming today, and then I'll have my white dimensionals again. I'm going to use these. These aren't going to show up anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and use these. I'm going to need a little bit of support down on the base of that tree where the grass is. Here we go. Just enough down there. Another one here. Come up the trunk. And just randomly spread these around to give it some support. I think that'll hold it. Okay. And since I've got this out, I'm just going to pluck these up. I say pluck, and sometimes they don't want to pluck. It's a pluck and a twist and a flick to get these off. There we go. Oh, I got two that don't want to come off. And now it wants to stick to my fingernail. Okay, I'm going to put these in the trash before they stick to everything on my work table. So now I've got my pretty stamped tree, my multicolor fall color tree. I have my sentiment, and I don't think I need to pop that off. I'll just glue that down. And then I am kind of thinking maybe the coral, although that doesn't look good with the orange because I went with the bright orange. So let's see what I think about this. And I need to glue my insert on the inside. I haven't done that yet. So I'm not trying to make a big bow here. I want this to be, yes, small. Yep, like that. And I'm thinking maybe this is going to go, yep, I'm thinking up here, because otherwise it's going to cover too much of my sentiment. So before I glue that, I'm going to adhere this, and I'm not going to put another sentiment on the inside. Because it's a grateful and giving thanks for you, I feel like if I'm going to use this card, or, you know, I would want to write something personal in there. Even if it's just a Thanksgiving note, maybe to a hostess if you're going somewhere. But even there, I think I want to be able to write it myself rather than having a sentiment on the inside. So let me put a glue dot, and he doesn't want to attach, on the back of this twine, and put this on my tree trunk. And there we go. I was afraid this was going to be a very long video, and it turned out to be just, yeah, it's a little longer than normal, but it's not terrible. So that was good. So you watched me create my own ink pad. I used 4 different colors to get this tree with the effect of changing leaves. It's got some oranges, it's got some yellow, and it's got green. I could take a sponge dauber and add just a little more yellow if I wanted to make it brighter, or, you know, change some of the colors. And then I pulled out it's a retired stamp, but, you know, giving thankful for you. And then used the die cut from another set and used that as a stencil and just simply sponged that on there. So there's another way to make a card, something kind of different. It was fun to create my own stamp pad, my own ink pad. I hope this gives you some inspiration to try it as well. If you like the projects or the products that you're seeing here, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. You can find me at stampinup.net, or you can find me at Carolina Creative or #Carolina Creative. So thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned for the next video.